You know, you can have the perfect biological energy from the Motivation is a Trap video and the perfect strategy from the 15-minute rule video, and you will still fail. See, because there is a third invisible layer of biology that overrules everything else: your identity. If you identify as a lazy person, your brain views your hard work as a prediction error, a mistake, and it will force you to self-sabotage to get back to the baseline. And the worst part, the common advice to use affirmations, standing in the mirror saying stuff like, "I am successful," actually makes you biologically lazier. Neuroscience calls this the Boomerang Effect, and I'm going to show you the data that proves it. In this third and final video of this series, we are going to fix the operating system. We will cover why your default mode network is trapping you in the past, why you must stop manifesting, and the Batman protocol to hack your brain's self-image. And stick around, because the final tool, the self-perception theory, is the only scientifically proven way to fake it until you actually make it. But first, we need to locate you in the brain. Neuroscience points to the default mode network, the DMN. This network constructs your autobiographical self, the story that you tell yourself about who you are. If you identify as lazy, that isn't just a thought. It is a consolidated neural pathway in the DMN that resists deactivation. When you try to work, the DMN stays active, flooding you with thoughts like, "I can't do this," creating a dual task interference. The DMN then tells your reticular activating system, also known as the RAS, what to look for. The RAS filters 40 million bits of data per second. If your DMN says that "I am lazy," your RAS will biologically tune out evidence of your success and highlight every time you procrastinate. This is confirmation biased at a hardware level. You're not failing, you are blind to your own wins. So how do we fix this? Most people try positive affirmations, right? They say, "I am productive." But research found that for people with low self-esteem, this actually makes them feel worse. Why? Because the anterior cingulate cortex, also known as the ACC, and no, I'm not talking about the Atlantic Coast Conference. This is your brain's conflict monitor. When you say "I am productive," but your DMN has 10 years of evidence that you are lazy, the ACC flags it as a lie. To resolve the conflict, your brain actively retrieves memories of your failures to prove the affirmation wrong. You leave the mirror feeling more like a failure. This is the Boomerang Effect. Now combine this with the Audit effect, where visualizing success lowers your blood pressure and sedates you, and then you realize that positive thinking is a biological trap. If your brain is flagging your affirmations as lies, it is because it has a decade of data proving you haven't kept your word. You cannot manifest your way out of a consolidated neural pathway. To rewrite the identity, you first have to acknowledge the drift. And I have created a private 10-question audit called the Mirror Test. It is designed to bypass your default mode network and expose the specific behavior you rely on to avoid your responsibilities. It is not therapy. It is a blunt force tool to stop the lying so you can actually start to work. Download the file for free. The link is in the description. But fair warning, do not download it unless you are ready to actually look yourself in the mirror and be completely and totally honest. So if we can't think our way into a new identity, how do we change? Well, we use the self-perception theory. We don't act because of who we are who we are because of how we act. And to bypass the DMN's lazy script, we use a tool called self-distancing, or the Batman effect. Research shows that adopting an alter ego like Kobe Bryant's Black Mamba or Dwayne Johnson's The Rock improves executive function. When you feel resistance, stop using "I." Don't say "I am tired." Ask yourself, do you smell what the Rock is cooking? No, I'm just kidding. Ask yourself, what would the professional do right now? This shifts the activity away from the emotional centers to the executive centers. You are creating prediction errors. By taking action before you feel like it, you force the brain to update its model to explain the new data. You are casting votes for a new identity. This is the final piece of the volitional architecture. You are moving from a brain that protects its lazy story to a brain that is forced to accept its own competence. Stephen Pressfield wrote in The War of Art, "The amateur believes he must first overcome his fear, Then he can do his work. The professional knows that fear can never be overcome. He works anyway. You do not need to fix yourself to start. You need to start to fix. This was part 3. If you missed the biology of why you can't start or the strategy of how to focus, you need to watch the full series from the beginning right here.